Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make this bow and arrow pendant. This is an intermediate design that can be customized in countless ways, some of which I'll show you at the end of the video, so be sure to watch all the way through. If you'd like to see my start to finish process, stay tuned. Alright, we're going to start with the bow, and I'm using silver colored artistic wire, and this piece is 6 centimeters long. And I made a little mark right in the center with a dry erase marker. I'm going to go ahead and bend it to a 90-degree angle. And I'll wipe the ink off, of course. Now I want to put the bends in my bow, and to do that I'm using this nifty little pair of bracelet bending pliers. Now if you don't have a pair of pliers like this, it's okay. You can use a ring mandrel or any round object really. You can even just use your fingers. Alright, now I'm going to curl my ends. And then I'm going to lightly hammer it to just slightly flatten it out and strengthen it. Now we'll start to make the other base wire for our bow. This one is also cut to 6 centimeters and marked in the middle, but we're going to cut it down a little as we get it shaped around our first wire. Alright, now I'll see where I need to snip the ends. I want a little space between the end of my wire and the loop. And then I'll hammer this one too. And hammering the wire does lengthen it just a little bit, so I want to snip these back down. Now we can weave our bow together. So for that I have a 30-inch piece of 28 gauge wire, and it's bent right in the middle. I'm going to get started with 4 coils on each side of the bend in my base wire. And then I'll go ahead and get these put in my little clamp to help hold them together while I get the weave going. And I'll coil these together twice, and you want to be sure to find the right balance of tension on this weaving wire. You want these coils to be tight, but not so tight that they'll pull the base wires together completely, because then you won't be able to get your weaving wire through. Alright, then I'll go back to coiling the bottom wire. I'm going to do 8 coils. Then wrap both twice and back to the bottom wire for 8 more coils. And see how it's starting to close up on me? I'm going to gently push my fingernail in between these 2 wires and pull them apart just a tad to keep enough space for my weaving wire to make it through. Alright, I'm going to stop here but not snip my weaving wire yet. I actually want to snip this loop a teeny bit to kind of close the gap between it and the end of the top base wire. I'm going to coil this a few more times, then snip off my excess wire and tuck it in. And I'll do the other side off camera. Alright, and here's our little woven bow. Alright, now we're going to make our arrow. This is more 18 gauge wire and this piece is 8 centimeters long. I'm going to start by making a loop at one end. Then I'm going to spin my pliers around and create another loop of the same size under that first one. And I'm going to bring this one all the way around. And this is going to be the end of the arrow called the fletching. And I want to cut it just a tiny bit shorter than the bow. Alright, and the point of our arrow is going to be a 3mm bicone bead, and I'm going to flatten out the end of the wire by squeezing it in my flat nose pliers. Then I'm going to use some fine sandpaper to smooth this out. Okay, now I'm going to secure my bead with some weaving wire, and it's also the wire that we'll use to attach the arrow to the bow, so I'm going to make sure I leave the top end extra long. Alright, now I'm going to add a couple accent beads to my loops. These are some super tiny 2mm faceted amethyst beads. And then I'll snip this end of the wire and tuck it in, and again, I'm leaving that top end of the wire extra long. Okay, now we're going to start getting our arrow attached to the bow. And the string for our bow is going to be this chain. I think this is 3mm chain, although it could be 2mm. And I'm going to just get an idea of how long I want my chain to be. I'm going to count the links. Okay, that 13th link is right at the end of my arrow here, so I'm going to count 12 more links on the other side, so I have an even length on both sides, so that'll be 25 links total. Alright, now we can attach the chain to the bow. And now we can close this gap completely. Then I'm going to count my 13 links and attach the end of my arrow to the chain. Okay, now we can attach the other end of the arrow to the bow. And what I want to do here is make a little X with my weaving wire. So I'm going to wrap it around 3 times in this direction. And then I'm going to bring it up from the opposite side and do 3 more wraps in the opposite direction. And then I'll finish with some coils on the arrow. I'm just going to gently pull it in a few places just to get it nice and secure. And I'm going to give this wire a gentle little tweak to tighten it around the bead. Alright, and here's our finished pendant, and of course you can hang it from either end so you can point the arrow in either direction. Okay, if you made it this far, thanks for sticking around. As usual, I like to show you some ways to change up the design and get creative with it. This one here is a bit longer, and I used larger beads for the fletching. For this one, I made a different type of arrow, which you can see a micro tutorial for on my IG or TikTok. I also used 3 base wires for the bow instead of 2. This one I got kind of fancy with the bow, doing a little channel set with some crystals, and I made another kind of arrow. For For this one, I made a bow with some loops in it so that I can actually put the arrow through it. And then I got these fun little arrow-shaped beads to use for the fletching of the arrow. You can also make earrings. This is just a simple little hammered bow and arrow. And this last style I thought of as a simple hammered twisted wire. Alright guys, so those are just a few ways that you can change this design. I'm sure y'all can come up with all kinds of other really creative ways to change this up. So I just want to thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope you enjoyed this project. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you'd like to help me make more of these tutorials, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe and tap the bell so you get notified every time I upload a new video. And if you want to support me monetarily, you can purchase my jewelry and artwork at the Works of Wyoming website, which is linked in the description. If you follow me on Instagram or TikTok, feel free to share pictures or videos of your creations with me because I love to see what my tutorials inspire. And if you don't follow me on those platforms, make sure to do so because I post lots of fun content on TikTok and IG that you won't see here on my YouTube channel. And I just want to end by saying, have a fantastic day and remember to love your neighbor as yourself, and in all things, treat others as you want to be treated, for this is the law and the prophets. God bless you guys, and I hope to see you in the next video.